Assalamu alaikum students, I hope you all are doing well. Students, today we will start unit 1, that is fundamentals of computer. In this unit we will study the introduction of computer. Further we will also see the evolution or history of computers, and some of the basic types of computers will also be discussed. Later on in the same unit we will study some of the basic components of the computer, and their functionalities will also be discussed. So this is the first unit of the first lesson of this unit, that is fundamentals of computer. In this lesson we will see the introduction of computers, and the evolution of computer will also be discussed, and at the end we will see the basic types of computers. Towards introduction to computer. Computers have affected every aspect of our life. Of course, nowadays in each and every aspect of our life, computer is used and computer is involved. Even you can see in medical, in defense, engineering, industry, whether in manufacturing of each and every good, in each and every aspect of our life, you name it, and you would see that computer is involved somehow. What is the formal definition of computer? You already know this, but let me repeat it. A computer is an electronic machine that accepts data, stores it, processes it according to the instructions given by the user, and gives out the result to the user. The computer can store and manipulate large quantities of data at very high speed. The speed and performance of a computer is incomparable, means matchless. Nothing can have such high speed and performance like a computer evolution. For thousands of years, mathematicians, scientists and businessmen have searched for computing machines that could perform calculations quickly and efficiently. The first computer which was developed is called abacus. It was developed 5,000 years ago in Babylonia. It was built out of wood and beads. The abacus marked the first step on the road to the computer. Abacus was mainly used as a counting machine. In 1600, John Napier, which was a mathematician from Scotland, he invented Napier's bone. This machine was used for making calculations and multiplications of numbers. This device allowed quick and accurate multiplication of large. Then in 1642, a 19 years old Blaise Pascal, the name of the scientist is Blaise Pascal, he invented this machine, and the machine is called Pascaline. This machine could add and subtract numbers and had the ability to carry digits. The man who conceived of the computer was the British inventor Charles Babbage. He is considered to be the father of modern digital computer. He developed a calculator called difference engine. This is the picture of the machine called difference engine, which was developed by Charles Babbage. In 1823, Babbage planned to complete another calculating machine, analytical engine, but he failed because technology of that time was not so high, but he succeeded in establishing the basic principles on which the modern computers are constructed. That's why he is considered to be the father of modern digital computer. One thing I would like to mention, that you don't have to worry about all these text. You just need to note down the important points related to each and every invention. Like, you must know that the first computer which was invented is abacus, and Pascaline was discovered by the Blaise Pascal, and Pascaline was used to aid and subtract numbers. These are the facts and figures that you must remember, and forget about the other details. Charles Babbage, he invented difference engine, and he is considered to be the father of modern digital computers. History and generation of computers. Computer generations refer to the advancements of computer technology. With each new generation, the circuitry has gotten smaller and more advanced than the previous generation. As a result, the efficiency, speed, power, and memory of computers have increased. The complete history of computers is divided into 5 generations. The first generation, which is from 1946 to 1958, and that's called the era of vacuum tubes. The first generation computers were slow, expensive, and often unreliable. This is the picture of vacuum tubes. They look like this. Vacuum tubes were used in the first generation of computers. One of the first generation computers was the ENIAC. ENIAC stands for Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, that used thousands of vacuum tubes. So if you see, it occupies a lot of space and produces a lot of heat, and of course it would require a lot of power. It took up a lot of space and produced a lot of heat. And another example of first generation computer is UNIVAC. This was the first commercial computer delivered to the US Census Department in 1952. The second generation, which is from 1959 to 1964, this is called the transistor era, where the vacuum tubes were replaced by transistors. Transistors replaced vacuum tubes and were used in the second generation computers. Transistor is a device composed of semiconductor material. Here in the picture you can see the transistor. It was invented in 1947 at Bell Labs. The transistor was faster, more reliable, smaller, and much cheaper to build than a vacuum tube. One transistor replaced about 40 vacuum tubes, which also helped the scientists to reduce the size of the computer. Second generation computers moved from machine language to assembly language, which allowed programmers to specify instructions in words. Here in the picture you can see a computer which belongs to the second generation, and this computer was developed by the IBM. And second important feature that the second generation computers have, that they use the assembly language instead of machine language. Machine language is purely based on zeros and ones, while assembly language uses symbolic codes. They are also called mnemonics. They are English oriented codes which can easily be remembered by human beings and can easily be understood by humans. Now the third generation, which is from 1965 to 1970, where the integrated circuits were introduced. They are called ICs. The development of integrated circuits, ICs, was the hallmark of the third generation of computers. Integrated circuits placed on silicon chips called semiconductors increased the speed and efficiency of computers. ICs were a tremendous breakthrough in advancing the computer. The IC packs a huge number of transistors onto a single wafer of silicon. The invention of integrated circuits reduced both the size and cost of computers even further and further enhancing its speed. Third generation computers could carry out instructions in billionth of a second. So with the invention of ICs, the size of the computer decreased and the performance and efficiency of the computer increased even more. The fourth generation computers which are used nowadays and it is from 1971 and till date, and that's the era of microprocessor. The fourth generation can be characterized by both the integrated circuits and the invention of the microprocessor, a single chip that could do all the processing of a full-scale computer. By putting the millions of transistors onto one single chip, more calculations and faster speed could be achieved by computer. It led to the invention of personal computers or microcomputers. The computers that we are using nowadays in our homes, offices, computer labs, they are called personal computers or microcomputers, and they are fourth generation computers. Fifth generation computers, which are used nowadays up to some extent, but still there is a lot of space for the development and for the enhancement of fifth generation computers. Fifth generation computers are based on artificial intelligence and are still in development phase. Artificial intelligence based computers means that the purpose of these computers is to make the computer capable of thinking and making decisions just like humans. Robots and such other intelligent systems are major developments of this generation. The main objective of fifth generation computing is to develop devices that respond to natural language input and are capable of learning and self-organization. So the fifth generation computers are able and will be able to recognize the human language, which is a natural language, as an input and gives the desired output, and it will also be capable of learning things from the environment and will adopt itself according to the situation, according to the environment, according to the surroundings. Many new movies are based on this technology or on fifth generation computers. Like if you see the Transformers movie, so they are actually based on fifth generation computers. Now, types of computers. On the basis of their functionality, computers can be divided into three main types: analog computers, digital computers, and hybrid computers. First of all, analog computers. Analog computers are used to process and represent continuous data. We are having two types of data mainly. One is discrete type of data and the other is continuous data. In continuous data, we are not having the exact values, we are having the approximate values, while in discrete or digital data we are having the exact values. So analog computers, they process the continuous data, means the approximate data. Analog data included temperature, pressure, voltage and weight, etc. These computers devices use an analog quantity and produces analog values as output. They take input data continuously and produce results at the same time. Analog computers are very much speedy, they produce their results very fast, but their results are approximately correct. All the analog computers are special purpose computers. Few examples of analog computers or devices are mercury thermometer, which will always give you the approximate readings of the temperature, voltmeter, simple weighing scale, and barometer. These are the examples of analog computers: the thermometer, voltmeter for measuring the voltage, and weighing machine, and the the barometer, which will give you the approximate predictions about the weather. Digital computer. Digital computer represents physical quantities with the help of digits or numbers. Digital computers works with discrete numbers. Discrete numbers means that they are the exact numbers. These numbers are used to perform arithmetic calculations and also make logical decisions to reach a conclusion depending on the data they receive from the user. Digital computers are general purpose computers that can be used to solve a variety of problems. These can be used in almost every field of life, such as science and research, education, health, engineering, business, banks, markets, space, aircrafts, etc. They have powerful processing capabilities, large memory and storage to process and retain data as well as information. Digital computers come in different shapes and sizes according to their size, speed, memory and peripheral support. They can be classified into following 4 classes: microcomputers, mini computers, mainframe computers, supercomputers. These are the 4 types of digital computers that are used in the world nowadays. Examples of digital computers: microcomputers, the computers that we use for our personal use normally, they are called microcomputers, which include our desktop computers or PCs, laptops, tablets, mobile phones. All of these are type of microcomputers. Mini computers are more powerful and expensive as compared to microcomputers because they are used like a server. They can support from 4 to 200 users simultaneously, and in the picture you can see the examples of mini computers like DEC, DEC, VEX and IBM AS400, etc. These are the examples of mini computers, which are much more powerful as compared to microcomputers. Then mainframe computers, they are even more powerful as compared to the mini computers and microcomputers. So these are used by many large organizations to manage large amount of centralized data and programs, like for example hospitals, universities, banks, government offices. The ATM machine is a very good example of mainframe computer. ATM machine is actually a mainframe computer, and the most powerful and fastest computer is supercomputer. They are mainly used for processing of a very huge amount of data, and which requires a huge processing power. So for that purpose supercomputers are used, like for example in space missions supercomputers are used. Supercomputers are capable of processing more than 1 quadrillion instructions in a single second. Now the third and last type of computers, that is hybrid computers. A hybrid computer is a combination of digital and analog technologies. So this is a type of computers where the hybrid and analog, both type of technologies are combined together in a single computer. That's why it is called hybrid computer, because it has got the ability of both. The hybrid system provides the good precision that can be attained with analog computers, and the greater control that is possible with digital computers, plus the ability to accept the input data in either form. So it can accept the input either in analog form or digital form. A typical hybrid computer accepts analog signals, converts them to digital, and processes them in digital form. This integration is obtained by digital to analog and analog to digital converter. Hybrid machines are generally used in scientific applications, in controlling industrial processes, and in robotics. They are also used in hospitals for patients monitoring, to monitor patients' heartbeat, pulse rate, breathing, and brain activity, etc. Here we are having some of the examples of hybrid computers. They are used in hospitals. So if you see that the doctor is taking the input by using an analog device, and the computer is converting that analog input into digital form after processing. The missile system also uses hybrid computer for fast and precise calculations in real time. In modern cars, we see the digital speed meter, which is called speedometer, and this is also a type of hybrid computer, where the analog input is taken from the wheels of the car and converted into digital data, which shows on the speed meter. Okay students, that's it for today. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe my channel Computer Tuition Academy. Thanks a lot. Take care. Allah Hafiz.